The information is still coming in, but at this point, we think it's as bad as you would imagine the strongest cyclone ever to hit Fiji, and possibly the strongest cyclone in recorded history in the Southern Hemisphere to be. The aerial footage that's now coming in is of villages where there should be a village, but instead there's a field of debris. Where you would expect to see a house, there's a concrete pad with debris around it. So this is an incredibly challenging time for the people of Fiji. Fiji is a strong and resilient nation, and people are very good at sort of dusting themselves off and getting back on their feet. But this is probably bigger than anybody could handle. And the government of Fiji yesterday requested official international assistance from from United Nations agencies and from the international community. And from other countries, and it's great to see assistance coming from the Australian and New Zealand governments. And yesterday we were able to load emergency supplies onto the first boat heading out to Koro Island, which is one of those islands where it's about 3,500 people, and you look down on it and there just aren't any structures left.
In islands like Koro also, water was always reasonably precarious. Now there will be no fresh water at all, will there?
Absolutely. So funnily enough, there was some very small amount of telephone connection that was coming out of Koro just yesterday, and we were getting urgent requests for water purification tablets and for things particularly around drinking water. That's one of the reasons why when we loaded up the ship with supplies yesterday with the government, one of the priority items was water purification tablets. This allows us to make clean, safe drinking water, and it helps to prevent the spread of disease and prevent outbreaks of things like diarrhea. Diarrhea, particularly for young children, can be a killer in an emergency, so it's critically important that people have safe drinking water.
Alice, we're talking still of a death toll somewhere in the region of 28, but none of this factors in those outlying islands. Are you expecting that the death toll will rise?
At this point, the government does anticipate that the death toll will rise. The information is trickling in. There's entire communities where we simply don't know what the situation is. Already we're getting incredible stories of heroism and sacrifice from people and people who have died in the process of helping others, which is really a reflection on Fiji and the nature of people in Fiji. They're just so incredibly community-oriented. But this is just such an incredibly challenging time for Fiji, and it can be easy if you're sitting in New Zealand and you're only seeing bits and pieces of the picture here. It's really hard to understand just how devastating this is. All of my colleagues here in our office, this is our regional headquarters for the Pacific region. There's 50 staff here. All of us are trained technical specialists for emergency response and for development work. And so many of my colleagues are Fijian, and they're used to responding to emergencies in other countries, but this one is deeply personal. So we're seeing staff working around the clock, doing whatever they can to make sure that their fellow countrymen are supported.